So I decided that I would share the story about what happened to me when I died. And it's going to be a little weird because it's not what happened to me when I died in this life. It wasn't like a near death experience. It was my death in another life that I vividly recall. So let me give you a little bit of background so that it can make more sense as we get through the story. This is a download, a vision, an epiphany. I just went from one moment not remembering this life, that particular life I'm referring to, and then the next minute I remembered everything about that life. It's like it got downloaded, like the Matrix. Remember when Keanu Reeves was like turned into like a badass real quick? Okay, it was like that. So in an instant, I remembered being a teenage, like an Indian maiden, a Native American maiden, and I don't even like either of those words because they're what were these people actually called? Because we have really screwed the pooch on that, calling them other names that aren't they really aren't accurate. But anyway, I'm gonna go with Indian just to get through the story. So I remembered myself as a teenage Indian maiden. I knew instantly that I was the daughter of the tribal priest. And one of my many duties, I had a lot of duties in in our community. We were small, we were a small tribe. We were filled with mostly weak or sickly people for some reason. I don't feel like there was like a plague or anything. All I know is that we had little kids who weren't sickly, but they were little, so they obviously couldn't fight. The older people were weak for some reason. So I'm not sure why we were weak. So we were children and weak adults for some reason. So there weren't very many of us that were strong and fit. So we were definitely not a warring tribe. We had no desire to have war ever. Our chief had created a very peaceful, beautiful, loving environment for us. So, one of the things that I did was I was like the community, like architect slash engineer type person. So I created our water, our fresh water intake systems and distribution systems, and I created wastewater gravity fed where the wastewater would flow off in a certain direction and the fresh water would come in a certain direction, uh, like in a way like a natural backflow preventer. So I created those systems, and the other thing that I did was I designed a system where our TPs or little homes were set up in pods. So there was little groups all over the land we had of a few TPs each. I mean, about a half a dozen really each pod. Excuse me, that's my gorgeous granddaughter. There's no way around her squealing. I'll try to, get through this. So we had these pods, and there was a circle around each pod. And in these circles, there was a trench. So there was a trench circle around each pod of TPs. And in the trenches, we put wood. And at night, we would light it on fire. So most of the circle had a trench with wood, and it had fire in it. So there was, of course, an exit and entrance. There was a little section that was left without the trench, so you could get in and out during the night. But these circles served several purposes. One was obviously to keep us warm. Two was to protect us from predators at night when we were sleeping. Nothing was coming near those fires. So I had created that, and it was a pretty cool little system. And I was engaged, betrothed to the chief's son, who was slightly older than me. And I was deeply and desperately in love with him. I had a very pure spirit. very honest, very honorable. And I loved him truly, madly, deeply with all of my spirit. So it goes from me knowing all of that stuff, knowing my relationship with him, to now we're in a situation where there's another tribe that has got beef with us for some reason. I don't think it was personal beef. I think they just wanted our setup basically because it was a nice setup. So they wanted it for themselves. And my betrothed, I'm I'm just gonna call him. I'm just gonna call him my fiance. I don't remember his name. I don't want to make one up. So my fiance at the time, he was pinch hitting for the chief because the chief was very sick with whatever it was that had been affecting us. And so his son was kind of de facto chief at the time. Well, I remember thinking we obviously cannot go to war or battle with this other tribe. We're going to get destroyed. We don't fight, we don't practice fighting. Our only weapons are for hunting. We're going to get our asses handed to us. We cannot do this. And I distinctly remember him wanting to engage in the battle. See, I wanted to talk to them. I wanted to negotiate. I was willing to offer to teach them how I had set up our systems, to teach them the systems. I wanted to do anything but go to battle. But the fiance boy, he wanted to go to battle. And I remember feeling him and knowing that it was from his ego. He wanted to go to this battle because he wanted to prove himself as a man that he could be the chief. So his heart was way in the wrong place, and that was very off-putting to me. It hurt me for my tribe, but I loved him so much I was overlooking it. So there's a moment where he says, "We're engaging them in battle." And I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yes." And when he had made that decision, now I don't understand how the logistics of how this happened. I'm just going to speak the memories as honestly as I can, and we'll have to fill in the blanks with our imagination. So after he said, yes, he was sure, in an instant, basically now there's a battle line, and there's the other tribe, and they're coming towards us. So I was going to run back to our home, our community, and warn everyone and try to get them out and get them to someplace safe, if that were a possibility, so that everybody wouldn't get murdered by this tribe. So I was running towards there, and my love for my fiance stopped me in my tracks, and I was torn. Do I go warn the tribe and save them, or do I fight alongside my mans? And in an instant, I made the decision to fight alongside him instead of warning my tribe. And I know it sounds ridiculous crying about it, like, what is not even this life? But I remember that, just like I remember it as though it happened in this life. I remember that, knowing that decision led to the slaughter of my people. So I turned around and I chose to fight next to him. Well, it was over before it even started for both of us. He took an arrow, he went down. I took one almost immediately thereafter, and I went down. And I died instantly, and my spirit was left my body. And I was hovering over my body, and inside of my emotional body, I was resisting leaving the earth plane because he was still there. And I was thinking to myself, I can't leave him. I cannot leave him. He's still here. I didn't say anything, obviously. I didn't have a mouth. I didn't have a body anymore. But I was feeling that deeply. And in that instant, I don't know if it was my guide, my teammate, my mission partner, my higher self, another entity, another spiritual entity, etheric entity, came to me and communicated to me. He said, she, whatever, I'm going to say he just for the sake of this. He said telepathically to me, He's not there anymore. Come on, we have to go. So when he explained to me that my fiance was no longer there, in other words, he had left his body, that was just his body, I instantly, okay, so let me paint this picture. 1 second ago, I was so emotionally attached to my tribe, to my life, to my people, to my betrothed, to this battle. 1 second before this, I was consumed by so many emotions: fear, dread, disappointment, love, all of these human emotions. I feel like I had every one. And then in an instant, when my guide says he's not there anymore, we have to go, like you flip a switch, I went from all of those emotions to being completely disconnected from this life, from my body, completely disconnected from all things earth related. I mean, instantly, I no longer had those emotions. Instantly, I was back in, um, I kind of felt like mission mode, kind of like the guide that came to get me was like, okay, dude, that was your mission that you were on. Um, we got to get you back to wherever so that you can, you know, start your next mission or go wherever it is that you need to go next. So all those feelings that I thought were, basically the end of the world, feeling those and those experiences and losing my tribe and everything, it was the absolute end of the world. And then in an instant, it was like I knew that none of it had been real. None of it was real. And it was just an experience I was having, probably a simulation. I literally went from being complete emotional wreck to like, oh shit. That went, wow, that seemed really, really real. And it wasn't. It wasn't real. The experiences that I had were real. The emotions that I had were real. The memories and lessons that I learned were real. But the experience, the actual physicality of it, so to speak, it wasn't as physical and solid and real as I thought it was. It was all an experience in order to download to me skills and memories and knowings, um, that I could take with me into my next mission. And I knew all this again instantly. So I tell this story just to encourage you that when you find yourself in those emotional states here in this life, I don't know if you guys go through that, but I do still. I find myself so entrenched in these human emotions. And I'm very, very fortunate that I have that memory to fall back on, because it gives me so much comfort. Because I know, for as real as it seems and how all encompassing these experiences and these emotions and the sadness and the fear and all of those things, I know how real they feel, but I know that it's not as real as you think it is. Like I said, you get the experiences and you get the benefit from what you went through. But I can guarantee you, I know unequivocally that it's all going to be okay. You're going to be fine. In an instant, all of the feelings that you had here are going to go away. You're okay. You're always, always okay. And you're never by yourself. And even though I have the memories, I still forget. I forget. And man, I find myself being so sold on this. And I just, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh, I can't believe. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm $40 short. I mean, I was that way yesterday. I had a full meltdown yesterday. I felt sorry for myself all day. Just woe is me, because I'm in physical pain. And that's a difficult one to overcome when you're trying to keep a high vibe. I'm telling you, it's hard to think about anything else. But I was woe is me yesterday, and I just had to get myself together and go, wait, Lisa, wait a minute. There's so much more to who you are than these little issues that you're having on planet Earth. So I hope that encouraged you. I don't mean to be blasphemous in any way. If anyone listens to this who's religious, I think there are so many different versions of what the so-called truth is of what's happening here. This is just one perspective. So thank you guys for listening. Leave your comments. Let me know if you want to hear more stories like this. I've been doing more CIA type stuff, but I think these things are important for other people to hear. So let me know. Thanks. Love you. Bye.